For many local solopreneurs, traditional marketing feels like a physical grind. They push direct sales messages into a crowded marketplace, often seeing zero measurable return on that effort, as the local audience moves past them without a glance. High-performing local businesses are shifting their focus away from self-promotion. They are building content specifically around the work of other businesses and existing local podcasts. This strategy exploits the internal logic of podcast directories. When a show's metadata consistently references other established programs, algorithms recognize the association. The central node here connects to external shows, triggering a feedback loop that places the podcast into the related suggestions on platforms like Apple. This placement allows a new show to draft off the momentum of larger audiences. It places the content in front of listeners who are already using their podcast apps and searching for relevant local topics. Discoverability in a digital market is less about the volume of a pitch and more about the strength of these algorithmic associations. Voxel Micro Video Labs and Edwin Duterte treat this discoverability as a rigorous discipline. They apply a specific set of logic to local influence, moving past the guesswork common in creative marketing. Edwin's approach is rooted in his background as a loan officer and underwriter for institutions like Freddie Mac and China Trust Bank USA. His career has centered on the financial evaluation of retail, industrial, and multifamily assets. When you apply the same underwriting criteria used in commercial real estate to a marketing budget, the metrics for podcasting become clear. This scale shows how balancing acquisition costs against the long-term yield of a recurring audience creates a verifiable financial asset for a local business. Treating a podcast as a calculated investment rather than a creative project provides a predictable path for growth. It moves the business from a cycle of constant hustle to a model of asset-backed marketing. Podcast analytics show a consistent pattern of listener behavior. This retention graph shows a sharp decline at the exact moment a direct sales pitch begins. Listeners view these segments as interruptions and frequently exit the episode. When the content shifts to a selling through transformation model, the retention line stabilizes. By focusing on the specific challenges and eventual successes of past clients, the audience stays engaged with the narrative rather than feeling targeted by a sales tactic. Capturing these stories requires a high level of guest comfort. Framing the recording as a casual conversation and letting the guest know the microphones are live only after they've settled in removes the pressure of a formal interview. This environment is maintained by avoiding rigid word-for-word scripts. A bulleted roadmap allows the host to guide the conversation while remaining present and reactive, preventing the robotic tone that can alienate listeners. To get past surface-level answers, hosts use simple follow-up questions. Asking why or how did that feel forces the guest to move beyond scripted talking points and into the specific details of their experience. These specific moments provide the foundation for future content. A single emotional response from an interview can be isolated and expanded into a solo episode that addresses a specific pain point shared by the broader local audience. When an audience hears a detailed, authentic journey from a peer, the value of the service is demonstrated by the results. The traditional sales pitch is replaced by the evidence of the transformation itself. Technical quality directly impacts brand perception. This comparison shows the difference between the jagged, compressed audio from platforms like Zoom and a smooth, high-fidelity studio signal. Subpar audio functions as a branding liability, signaling a lack of attention to detail. Maintaining a professional standard requires dedicated hardware. This includes using shock mounts to eliminate vibrations, high-end microphones, and local video backups that preserve the full resolution of the recording. In a digital landscape, the clarity of your audio and video serves as a proxy for the quality of your business. Poor production creates a psychological barrier between you and a high-value client. It is easy to dismiss a podcast that only gets 100 downloads, but if you look at a room filled with 100 local leads, all focused on your message for 30 minutes, that influence becomes tangible. That influence is converted into business through a specific funnel. By referencing visual assets or resources during the audio, you guide listeners to a central website where their contact information can be captured directly. Moving those leads into a private community space further separates the business from the noise of social media. It allows the host to serve as a resource and a local authority, rather than just another service provider. Voxel Micro Video Labs provides the technical infrastructure to execute this strategy. We handle the production complexities, ensuring the output reflects a high-end professional standard. Building local authority is a deliberate process of moving away from DIY setups and towards studio-backed execution. Shift your strategy from pitching to storytelling. Book your production space today at voxelmicrovideolabs.com.